How many ways are there to transfer heat
Three.
energy from hot object to cold object? 3 methods are there.
Three.
What those 3 methods are?
Conduction, convection, radiation.
Very good. Conduction, convection and radiation. So 3 types of transfer of heat energy will be there. And let us start learning about conduction, what we mean by conduction. So see here, conduction is the direct flow of heat through a material resulting from physical heat. Okay, so let me give one example, and from that let us try to understand about conduction. And that example is already shown for you. Now here what we did in this particular experiment where the transmission of heat energy is there, that I explained here or not? What we took?
Yes.
We took burner and we lit it, and flame will come, and that flame gives heat energy, and you keep one end of the iron rod in that flame, and you hold that iron rod to the other end. What will happen after some time? Heat energy will be transferred from the end which is there in the flame to the end where you are holding, isn't it? Heat energy will be transferred or not? Unmana?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right. Are you listening?
Yes, sir.
Right. So heat energy will be transferred from the end which is in flame to the other end where you are holding it, isn't it?
Yes.
Now tell me that whatever object is there, that means iron rod is there, that iron rod is touching that flame or not?
Yes.
Right. So that means heat energy is transferred by physical touch here. That means physical touch must be there. Suppose what you do is take a small bowl and heat the water and place your hand into it, your fingers into it. Then what happens?
We feel that the other end is heated.
Understand carefully. Bowl we took and we are heating the water in that, and you placed your fingers into that. What will happen?
We feel that though the cold water, it has turned hot because heat has flowed from the like the bowl has hot bowl from the hot bowl. It has flowed to the water and the water has become heated.
Okay. So after heating the water, you place your fingers into that. Then what happens? Unmana.
So I think we will feel the water is heated.
Right. That means you will feel hot or not.
Yes.
Why? How you will feel hotter? Because the heat energy is flowing from that particular water to your body. And
Yes,
whether
sir.
it will flow when you are touching or without touching, it will flow.
With touching.
When you are touching it, it is flowing, isn't it? And when it is flowing, tell me whether the particle of you, as heat energy is flowing from water to your body, the particles which are there in our body will move from one point to another point, or only heat energy will flow?
Only heat energy will flow.
Very good. Only heat energy will flow from one particle to the another particle. So thereby it reaches to some distance actually. And here also same thing will happen when you are heating this particular iron rod with a Bunsen burner. Actually it will be called Bunsen burner or else burner. So when you are heating the iron rod by keeping that iron rod in a flame, then what happens is whatever the end which is there in a flame, there some particles will be there or not. So those particles will get heat energy first, and after getting the heat energy, that heat energy will be transferred to the another particles. Only heat energy will be transferred from one particle to the another particle, but the particle will not move from one point to the another point. So if heat energy flows from one point to the another point without moving the particles of the medium, then that type of transfer of heat energy will be called conduction. Try to understand again. Particle will not move. Without the movement of particles, what will move? Heat energy will move from one point to the another point. And if heat energy is transferred like that, then it will be called what? Conduction. So without moving the particles of the medium, if heat energy flows from one end to the another end or one point to the another point, then that type of transmission of heat energy will be called conduction. And this conduction generally takes place in all the substances. All the substances means it takes place in solids, it takes place in liquids, it takes place in gases also. So without the movement of the particles, if heat energy flows, that will be called conduction, and preferably conduction will occur in solids more. Why it will be in solids, that I will explain when we learn about other two methods. What those other two methods are? Convection and radiation. But first you have to understand about conduction. So again, briefly tell me what do you mean by conduction, what you understood? Conduction.
It is a process of transfer of heat, where the transfer of heat is like the transfer of heat occurs through the heat energy, and the particles will not move, and it generally occurs for solids and
Okay. Priscilla?
Sir, conduction is the transfer of heat uh, from uh, from um, uh, from a substance with direct contact, sir.
Okay. But how it will transfer? When direct contact is there, it will transfer. Okay. But how it will transfer? Without the movement of the particles. Particles will not move in that. Without moving the particle, heat energy only will be transferred from one particle to the another particle. And when it transfers like that, it reaches from one end to the another end. And this method will be called conduction. Bhavya, understood? Bhavya.
Yes.
Right. Arna?
Yes, sir.
Have you understood how conduction will take place?
Yes, sir.
Right. So most probably conduction will occur in solid substances, and even in liquids and gases also will occur, but it is bit difficult to observe it in that liquids and gases. Why? That I am going to explain in next whatever transfer method is there in that. But before that, let us try to understand about few applications of this particular conduction. But before going to learn about few applications of it, you have to learn about conductors. Now suppose when you are touching two objects, and if one of the object is bad conductor of heat energy, then heat energy will flow. Whether heat energy will flow?
Sir, can you repeat the question?
Two objects are there. One object is hotter object and one more object is there which is a bad conductor of heat energy. And if both are touching with each other, heat energy will flow from hot object to another object or not.
Yes, sir.
Heat energy will be transferred.
No, sir.
Right. Heat energy will not be transferred. Why? Because it is a bad conductor. That means it will not allow the flow of heat energy through it. So that's why you have to understand about a good conductor and bad conductors here. And what we mean by good conductor, the substances through which heat energy can easily flow. By conduction, generally, as we are discussing about conduction here, so that's why we are discussing about conduction. So the substances through which heat energy can easily flow by conduction are called good conductors. And you can give few examples like metals are good conductors of heat. And among the metals, silver is considered more. So silver will be good conductor of heat energy. So as silver is
Yes,
a
sir,
good
but we use.
heat energy, maybe you know that all the whatever bowls are there will be coated with a
Yes, sir.
silver color. Silver
Yes,
color
sir.
with a silver coating will be there, isn't it?
Sir, silver, silver is it is the best, but it is
Bhavya, your voice is not coming clearly. Maybe your mic is not working properly. So test it and again tell me. Unmana, tell me.
sir what? Sir, no?
Bhavya,
Sir, can you hear me clearly now?
yeah, tell me now.
Sir, yeah. So silver it is said that silver is the best conductor, but it is used really rarely because it's really expensive. But
Right,
copper, though it is not the best conductor, it is used widely.
right, very good. So why we use copper over this silver? Because silver is a
Sir,
expensive
because
one.
silver is expensive.
Right, it is an expensive metal, but it is a good conductor of heat energy. Okay, and in many of the devices which we use to heat it or to do some experiment with heat, so what will be there? Silver coating will be there for it. Okay, right. And among this is about conduct, that means metals. And when non-metals you are taking, graphite is a good conductor of heat energy. Graphite, do you know about graphite? Graphite. Bhavya, do you
Yes,
know?
sir. Yes, I know.
Tell me,
Yes,
Priscilla.
So graphite is sir, it is a form of carbon, and
Very good.
it is even though it's a non-metal, um, it's a very good conductor of heat, and you use it in pencils.
Very good. We will use that in pencil. Pencil lead, whatever is there, will be made with a
yeah.
graphite only.
Yes,
And
also
right,
graphite
graphite is
are
a
conductors, and we use it to perform the what is experiment of electrolysis. It says in my textbook.
right, right. So we use graphite at many places. So graphite is one type of a carbon compound. Maybe you know that diamond is also a carbon compound. Do you know? In graphite, what will be there? Only carbon atoms will be there. Whereas in diamond, what will be there? Carbon atoms only will be there. Diamond is a very hardest substance, whereas this graphite is a very brittle one. So you can easily break it, but you can't break what? Diamond very easily. So both are made with a carbon only, but because of the chemical reaction or chemical bonding, the properties will be different for graphite and diamond. So that type of a graphite is a good conductor. But tell me, which one will be called as a conductor, good conductor? Which one will be called as a good conductor? Arna,
Yes, sir.
tell me, what do you mean by conductor?
Conductors let heat energy pass through them.
Heat energy?
Like conductors help the energy pass through them.
Right. That means the substances which will allow the flow of heat energy through them by the conduction process. Those will
Yes, sir.
be called conductors. And now let us learn about bad conductor. Bad conductor means which will not allow the flow of heat energy through them.
And they are also known as insulators.
Right. They are also known as insulator, but poor conductors we say here. Insulators generally we use in case of electricity. So that's why here you have to say poor conductors or bad conductors. So the substances which do not allow the heat energy to flow through them easily are called poor conductors or bad conductors. And what are the examples for it? So those examples are given here. Among in a solid substances, glass, wood, clay, asbestos, rubber, plastic, wax, etc. are poor conductors. That means they will not allow the heat energy to pass through very easily. So very little bit transfer of heat energy will be there in this solid substances, and in liquids. Mercury, except mercury, all are poor conductors of heat energy. All liquids except mercury. All gases without any exception are poor conductors. That means all the gases are bad conductors, and all liquids also poor conductors, but except mercury. Mercury will be a conductor of heat energy. Okay. Right. Okay, Bhavya, try to listen, try to understand the things, and maybe you will get some
Yes,
idea
sir.
from
Now
the
I
net.
can hear you, sir.
Okay, right. So bad conductors, you can give me examples like this. And if I ask you in examination, asbestos is a good conductor or bad conductor, you have to say it is a bad conductor. So these examples you have to remember, but you have to understand what is a bad conductor also. Tell me again, what is a bad conductor?
Substances that do not allow heat or heat energy to pass through them easily.
Right. The substances which do not allow the heat energy to flow through them very easily. Those are called bad conductors or poor conductors. Even we can call them as insulators also to understand here. Okay. And maybe you know that a few utensils will be there. Few utensils means maybe you take what pressure cooker, and if you take pressure cooker, some thing will be there, some kind of a material will be there as a holder. That means to hold that particular pressure cooker, some handle will be there. It look like plastic, but it is made with a bakelite. Bakelite is a very poor conductor of heat energy. So that's why that particular handle will be made with a bakelite. And if you touch it, even when you cook the food in it by heating it to large temperature, then also you can hold that pressure cooker very easily, as you are holding what? Bakelite material, which is not a good conductor of heat energy. So like that few applications are there. So applications you can observe. First one is there, copper tubing is used in automobile radiators, as it is readily takes up heat from the hot water coming from the side of the engine. So copper tubing, generally copper can absorb the heat energy, and that's why copper tube will be there in automobile in radiators. So when copper tubing is there in a radiator, so what happens? Heat energy will be very quickly absorbed from the hot water, and thereby whatever the function is there for that particular radiator that it can do. And cooking vessels are made out of metals, so that they can readily absorb heat energy and transfer it to the food. And for cooking vessels also, nowadays copper bottom vessels are coming, and that copper bottom vessels, what they will do, they will absorb the heat energy easily, and that heat energy can be transferred to the food. And nowadays many whatever cooking vessels are there are having copper bottom. Have you seen it? Have you seen copper bottom vessels? Bhavya, Priscilla, Unmana, have you seen them
Yes,
copper
sir.
bottom vessels? Priscilla, Priscilla, can you listen me? Can you hear me?
So can you repeat, sir?
Cooking vessels nowadays are having copper bottom, isn't it?
Yes,
Copper
sir.
bottom, copper bottom is there or not?
Yes, sir.
Right. Why copper bottom is there?
So that, sir, it is a good conductor, so that the food also can get heated easily.
Right. So whatever this very useful metal is there, copper, so that will be used for vessels. And one more application is there. Mercury is used as a thermometric liquid already, you know, as it is a good conductor of heat energy. So that will be used in thermometers, isn't it? Mercury will be used in thermometers or not?
Yes, sir.
Right. Why we use it? Because it is a thermometric liquid. That means it is a good conductor of heat energy. So that's why only we are using that mercury, and some other factors are also there to use that particular mercury. Mercury cannot wet any material. That's why also we use mercury in that particular thermometer devices. And next, cooling coils of an air conditioner and the refrigerator are made up of copper as they readily conduct heat. So wherever heat energy transfer has to be done, then what we use one metal like copper. So copper can be used here. So here copper will be used as what? To remove the heat energy from that engine to the outside. So copper will be used there. So as it is a good conductor. So cooling coils are of cooling coils of an air conditioner and the refrigerator are made with copper. So as it is a good conductor of heat energy, either to absorb the heat energy or to remove the heat energy, we use good conductors. Okay. Is it clear applications of conductors?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now let us move to the applications of bad conductors. So the handles of teapots, kettles, like pressure cookers, all the things will be made either with a wood or plastic, or I said one thing, bakelite. So that also will be used. So all those things will be used for handling those particular devices. And why they will be used? Because they are bad conductors of heat energy. So as they are bad conductors of heat energy, you can hold that particular devices comfortably. So that's why only we use that bad conductors. So air is a best conductor or poor conductor of heat energy? Air is a poor conductor or
Poor
a best
conductor.
conductor? Right, it is a poor conductor of heat energy. That's why only whatever the heat which is there in our bodies will not escape easily to the atmosphere. Why? Because the atmosphere is filled with air. Air is a poor conductor of heat energy. So when you are having more heat energy than the atmosphere, then there is a chance of heat energy flows from your body to that atmosphere. But air is a poor conductor of heat energy. So that's why what happens? That heat energy will not be transferred very easily to atmosphere from your body. Okay. Next, fur, wool, cotton, wool, cork, feathers, sawdust, trapped air in birds. Trapped air in birds' feathers. Those all the things are what they are examples of bad conductors. That means insulators. So generally, you know that blankets will be there. Blankets will be made with which materials? Blankets will be there, no? Which we generally use in this winter season. Blankets we use or not?
Yes, sir.
So blankets will be made with which material?
Sir, wool.
Very good. So generally they will be made with wool, or sometimes they will be made with fur cloth also. So wool or fur cloth generally will be used as a bad conductor of heat energy. Heat energy will not be transferred. Suppose you are somewhat warm. Generally in winter our body will be warmer, and if that heat energy lost by our body, then what happens? You will feel cool actually. So that's why not to escape that heat energy from your body to outside in night of the winter. Generally what we use is we use blankets which are made with a wool, and if you cover yourself with a blanket, what happens? Whatever the heat energy which is there for you will not be escape from your body, and thereby you can feel warmer. If you take one cloth which can conduct the heat energy, then what happens? You will feel cool. Why? Because your heat energy can be transmitted. Thereby you will become little bit cooler, and you can feel that coolness which is there outside. So that's why blankets, some other whatever cloths will be there for winter. They will be made with a wool, or sometimes fur cloth also will be there. So all these are bad conductors of heat energy. So we can use them in our daily life like this. Okay. And now let us try one question. Conduction cannot takes place in which of the material? Tell me. What will be your answer? Conduction cannot takes place in.
Vacuum. Vacuum.
Vacuum.
All are saying vacuum. Why vacuum? Why vacuum? Why not copper? Why not iron? Why not aluminium?
So because the other three are conductors of heat.
Okay, copper, iron, aluminium are conductors of heat energy. All these three are metals.
And sir, there's also another thing. And vacuum means empty space. So conduction cannot happen in empty space without any other object.
Right. So vacuum means nothing. No material is there. When no material is there, definitely conduction will not happen. And remember, to have a conduction, whether material is required or material is not required. Medium is required or not?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Medium is required. Without a medium, conduction will not takes place. Okay. So conduction preferably takes place in solid substances, as already I told you, right? So this is about conduction.